Hi. Welcome to the World of Bliss. I'm your host, L.A. Oh, hey there. Just getting some courage from my friend the lion back there. I think my meow was definitely a lot more intimidating. Today's show, we are going to focus on podcasts. So I went to my friend Issac and tried to ask him a bunch of questions on whether or not one should start one. And what's that look like? So let's start the show. And hopefully you learned something. And if not, oh fucking well. Oops. It's okay. Welcome everybody! This is my first guest.
Oh my god!
My friend Issac.
What's up? How you doing?
Issac and I used to do music together.
We did.
And we were good, okay?
Yeah, we knocked out some good tracks.
We did.
They were pretty funky.
Yes, they were like Prince inspired. He's got the purple on today. It's amazing. And tell us what you're into now, since we know you were into music, but you switched gears, and where did your creative side take you?
I started writing a lot of scripts, screenplays, teleplays, pilots.
Nice.
And also I was working on my one-man print show, which
Do you still do?
I'm still working on it.
Nice.
It's coming back hopefully this year. It premiered in 2017, and we were working back up to reworking the script, adding more elements to it, and then something happened around a year or two ago.
I wonder what that was.
Stuff kind of got derailed, so yeah. But we're working back on getting it. And actually, it's all been a blessing because a lot of new stuff that I'm putting into it, I don't think I would have had it gone out when it was meant to go out. So it's all perfect. Everything's lining up. And I've been podcasting a lot. I started podcasting right before all the craziness started, back in 2019. And I had a partner then. Things didn't work out, and an incident happened that made me
Drama.
A lot of drama, and I made a decision rather than to continue to branch off and do my own thing. And it actually ended up being also a major positive as the show kind of really took off and almost quadrupled its audience, at least within the past 6 months. And so I've been doing that a lot, and I pop out one a month. It's called The Brightness, the BRIGHT-ness, not the BRITE-ness. And yeah, I have a lot of fun doing it. It's just basically my way of, there's just so much that's going on. It's just my way of saying, well, this is what I feel about everything, not just what's been going on, but everything. It's really been a wonderful outlet.
He let me be on his show, and
she was a guest.
It was so much fun.
You were great. You had a great interview.
Thank you.
You had a lot of really great things to say, especially for young, emerging musical artists. I think you really nailed a lot on the head.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to do more music this year. Mm-hmm. And but this is a new venture for myself, producing this show. And this actual idea was rummaging around in my head for, 3 or 4 years now, or even longer. Like, I had written something about it, and I approached somebody, and you know how, like, you have an idea and you approach people and they just kind of like, you're like, oh, yeah. And then you're like, okay, well, and then you get busy with something else, and but it still sticks in your head, and you're like, should I bring that idea back? Should I do that? And then once I produced my own music videos, and I produced my Three Birds, my web series. Right. Then I was like, okay, now I know how to produce something. And so now I know how to make it happen. But it's, again, in the trial phases and stuff. And just like you were saying with, your partner left, and then you kind of figured out the groove of stuff, and it started kind of coming together. And I just feel like I'm going to find my way to you with this show. So
yeah, you just kind of have to, I think the most important thing with anything is consistency. Mm-hmm. You just have to plop them out. And you look back and you're like, what the hell was I doing?
There's some people that I follow on YouTube, and I see their original videos, and I'm like, oh my God, they came from that? Like, their stuff was like terrible. Oh, yeah. But then they got better at like presenting themselves and their content and everything else. And then they got to buy more equipment and lighting and all that stuff. And now it's just like, she's got so many followers, and I'm just like, wow. So it's really about putting yourself out there and just realizing like it's not going to be good in the beginning. But you know, people who can see through that and see like the person that they're looking at and can relate somehow, like I think that's how you get followers. I mean, what do you think about that?
Paralysis by perfection is how most artists get tripped up, because they see in their mind's eye what they want, or they hear in their ear what they want to create, but they're not there yet. I do that all the time. Yeah, like I look at like, I've got a sound stage, I got a makeup artist, I've got like production, I've got people asking me questions. In my mind, that's happening, but that's not happening right now. No, you just have to put out this, you just have to let it out. You have to be a channel. You have to let everything just come through you and just trust. You know, most artists, they get wrapped up in, well, this thing, I have this piece, and this is my piece, and it has to be perfect, and they just obsess over it. And you have to trust that if you're really an artist, if you're really a creative being, this is just one of dozens of hundreds of things that are going to come out of you. And you'll get the dozens of the hundreds coming out of you if you just put out 1, 2, 3 to the 4 to the 5. And, you know, you can't be tripped up. Like I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he's in a writer's block. And I'm like, well, what's the problem? You know, why can't you just, he's like, well, you know, I think it should be this way, and I don't know if it should be that way. And I'm like, I challenge you to write the worst piece of shit that you've ever written in your life. Like, just write 20 pages of garbage. But you'll start getting in the flow of writing, and there might be 2 lines. You're like, wow, that's actually a good line. And then you extract that and then just add it. You extract that and just add it. And then you just have to get in a flow. You can't worry about, I mean, the one thing you might be obsessing over, it might be the second thing after it that becomes your, oh my God. And you wouldn't have gotten to that had you been obsessing over number 1. If we're talking about podcasts, yeah, I mean, our first podcast, when I was with my partner, our first podcast was awful. We had 1 microphone. We were sitting back on couches. It was an hour and a half. I mean, and just rambling, you know. But we had one topic that people loved. I talked about this incident that I had when I microdosed. I'm not do that ever, but there was this one moment. And so we had this great story about that. But for whatever reason, that latched on. Right. And people were like, microdose. They were searching that search term. And so we had a huge amount of hits on our first episode. And then it just we just clumped over ourselves because we didn't know what we were doing. But we got really good as far as rapport and format, and with our, you know, our choices of subject matter and what we wanted to do, just the more that we did it, you know. And and when I branched off and I started doing my own thing, it's just the same process. Like I just knew I wanted to do something, and you know, so I switched over from the 2 of us to bringing on a guest every episode, and so that really helped, and that helped with the promotion of it, and that helped with I don't know, it just helped. It just became another added element, and I was able to kind of juxtapose guests versus my own little stuff at the beginning, and the show started to take off a lot. So I would say for podcasting, I would say for anything, I would say for if you're an actor, if you're a musician, if you're anybody, you have to really be clear about the why. Why do I want to be an actor? Why do I want to be a musician? Why do I want to start podcasting? Unless you're keyed into people who can just immediately get you jobs, like if you're connected to family or connected to high contacts within the industry that don't nepotism. Yeah, there's some nepotism going on. Like, hey, you know, Jerry wants to be an actor. Jerry wants to start doing, music, and then they all go to Dr. Dre's tomorrow. Like unless there's that's going on, and you can just kind of down. Like, I don't like that. But if you're like right ground zero and you don't know, you really have to connect to the why. I've always said that to people. It's like, why do you want to do it? If you want to do it because you want the glory, the fame, the money, the contracts, the followers, all the other shit that comes with the work that you put in, then stop right there. Just don't even, just stop. You have to, the why has to be because you have to. Like you have to act. If you didn't, you'd be miserable. You'd be in a state of depression. I have to sing. I have to write. I have to do a podcast. I have to do a podcast. Right. I would not have gone through the past 2 years of this madness if I didn't have a podcast to See,
for me, like when I have to do something, it's literally I have this idea and the idea won't let me go. It's like I can go do the dishes and I can pretend and I can get lost in a boyfriend or I can get lost in this or travel. But then that idea keeps literally tapping me on the shoulder like, hello. And I don't know if that's just for me. That's all my creativity does that to me. That's why this show that I wanted to start like 4 or 5 years ago is still coming at me. And I'm just like, I'll just freaking do it already.
Yes.
All right. So then I can just see if I like it or whatever.
Right.
Maybe it'll be great.
And
but
maybe it'll turn into something different.
Maybe it'll turn into something different, but I literally have to do it, or like this little voice in my head won't shut the fuck up. So is that like how it is for you? Because I don't really know what's in my head.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I have so many different things that come into my head, so it's hard to give them
Beware.
all. So many little voices. I have many voices like, do this, do this, do that, do this, do this, do that, do that.
As long as it's productive noises.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to get back into stand-up again, so I'm working on stand-up. So I feel like I have a lot of different things. It's hard to focus on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just honoring. It's just being in a creative flow. If you're an artist, you just want to be in a creative flow every day. It's like, what can I do to be an artist today? You might say, I want to write 10 pages. You might say, I want to blab on a microphone for 15 minutes. You might say, I want to write a song. You might say, I want to work on a comedy bit. You might say, I want to write a whatever it is. It's just. I think it was Martha Graham that had this amazing quote that is not. I'm going to paraphrase really awfully, where she said, you have to keep the channel open. You have to. That's your job as an artist. You just have to keep the channel open. It's not for you to judge whether it's right or it's not. You just have to keep that channel open. So whatever that is for you, and everybody's different. And here comes Yofi. She has to. I have to keep the Yofi fed.
Oh my god! Look at this dog and how cute.
My little angel. I love you very much. So yeah, you just have to keep it open. And I think we talk. Getting back to podcasts, it's just like if you have a why and you have to do it, then just do it.
So tell us a little bit about like the pros and cons of starting a podcast. Like, let's be realistic, because everyone likes to give advice, but they sometimes like leave out like the details that suck.
Okay. Well, first of all, there's 1 million podcasts out in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. It's not like TV shows. It's not like albums. It's like the Spotify of podcasting. Like there's just a lot of clamoring.
I think there's a lot of music out there, but there's a lot of bad music.
There's a lot of bad music. There's a lot of bad podcasts. I think the con is that you're going to be fighting for ear space from the beginning, and it's going to take a lot of work. You're going to clunk your way through how to record, how to edit. Editing is a real pain in the ass. Maybe
you edit all your stuff.
I edit everything. I do everything myself. The editing is the biggest challenge.
Now, if you were bad at editing, how much would it cost somebody to edit your stuff?
I don't know. I would say hundreds, 100, 150. You could send stuff to people. But then.
Don't they charge by the minute too?
If you're a podcaster and you're not editing your stuff, what the hell are you doing? Like, really, like...
Again, you got to save costs somewhere.
But what the cost? Just do some software. You just have to figure out the software.
Right.
But then if you're not editing, then how are you deciding what goes in and what goes out?
So you are like the showrunner of your show. And
yeah. You're gonna want to get yourself equipment. Or you could just record everything online. There's these interfaces like Squadcast. You can do stuff on Zoom. I use something for remote guests called Riverside. I think it's riverside.com or maybe riverside.fm. And then you basically go online, you plug your microphone into your computer, their microphone's in, and they record all the individual audio tracks. You could just take those tracks, put them into an editing software. I think you might even be able to edit on their interface. But then chop it up and boom, add some music, add some this, some that. You got yourself a podcast. You need equipment.
Right.
And that's $10 a month. So if you want to do it the easy way,
you could start that way, and then
you could totally start that way.
Once you get more money, or if you're more invested in your project, I mean, I feel like there's that like danger zone of like you have a great idea, and then this is for me because I definitely do this. I have a great idea and I start out strong, and I'll even go buy the equipment right away. Yeah. This is really like terrible of me, but I do this. I'll buy the equipment and then I get hyped up and then I just start to slide.
Yes. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. Like, they're like, that's a great podcast idea. And then, they'll do 4 or 5 episodes and then realize, wow, this is a pain in the ass. I have to keep doing
this. This is a lot. Yeah, this is a lot of work. You know what I mean? So again, back to like, you got the why.
The tip I would also say that we did not do, my partner partner, I did not do when we first started, is you want to launch your podcast.
Marketing.
You want to be able to, most people say you should have at least 2 or 3 episodes done before you even let people know there's a podcast.
The show.
Yeah, so you should have, you should have 3 episodes ready to go, and then you should be building up the anticipation. Hey, we're about to do a podcast. Hey, podcast coming up. I'm doing my podcast. I'm finally, and so building up that energy around it, and then when it releases, you have 3 at least to go, and then you want to put as much energy into that initial launch, because then places like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you could get listed as, top new podcast, and you can get...
What if you were scared? Like, shoot, I don't know if I want to promote something that you don't even know if it's good enough.
Well, then that's when you want to have the episode, and you want to go to your friends and be like, hey, before I post this, can you listen to this and tell me what you think? Get some feedback.
And try to get those friends who actually will tell you what's what. You know you have one. I'm one of those people. I will tell you what's up. And then you have the ones who are like, oh, like your mom, it's so good, honey.
Yes.
And you're like, but what about this? Oh, it's fine. No. And then you're like, no, okay, this person does not know. Okay. They're going to tell me whatever. So then you go back with a fine tooth and go, all right.
There's so many different things. I mean, everybody says you have to be niche if you want to do a podcast. Like, you should be very specific. Like, if you've got a podcast on tasting cheesecakes, I don't know. I'm gonna evaluate batteries. Hang gliding. Like, they say the more niche, the better.
Is it?
I don't know. I mean, I just think if you're good, you're good. I think
whatever your heart's in, that's where it's going to go. Don't listen to people. I swear to God, if I was going to give you any advice for your life, I would say listen with your ears and take about 10% of what people say in your life. For me, that's always worked. Like, I 90% follow my intuition and I'm right on the money. Mm-hmm. And then I take suggestions 10%, and I'll take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but I never take the full thing. Because you know why? Because you could have $1 million idea and this person tells you one thing and it crushes the whole thing, and then next month someone else has got the idea. Yeah. So it's like, people try to help, but sometimes they're just debilitating when it comes to actual creativity.
Yeah.
You're going to find out if it's not going to work out. Don't let this person stop you from actually doing it.
Or you may not get legs until episode 10.
Or season 2. How many TV shows have we watched that season 2 is way better than season 1? And thank God you stuck through season 1 to get to season 2. Because season 2 is on fire.
I would say, look, podcasting, it's very accessible. I mean, you get yourself a microphone, you get yourself a computer, and just start recording stuff. I mean, mine are like an hour and a half, an hour and 15 minutes. You could do like a 10, 15 minute podcast. It could be quick, Mm-hmm. I have this thing, the thing I use for recording is called a Zoom. I think it's like a Zoom 360.
I like Zoom.
So yeah, they're like $700-800, but
it's not the
no, it's the
meeting
actual,
stuff. It's an actual microphone called Zoom.
Yeah. No, it's an actual device.
Right.
Device, yeah.
Not the I'm going to have a meeting, to
no.
get clarified. There's an actual microphone.
So so you can get that, and then it makes you mobile, so you can walk around wherever you want. You can interview people on the street. You can take it to people. I took it to your house. I took it to wherever I want, and I just walk around with it all the time. Something comes in my head, I go, blah, 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 and
so cool.
That makes it really easy for me. So I'm always in the space of creating content. And I would say having something at the ready, even if it's your Apple, your iPhone, you can record on your iPhone.
Or Android.
Or whatever.
I always stand up for the Android.
Oh, sorry, Android? Whatever you want. Records, just keep recording. Just get in the space, just put stuff out there. Like, who cares? Like, really, honestly, who cares? Let's say you get 100 people listening to you. The first episode, it goes down to 5, and then nobody. And then episode 8, you get 10,000. Like, it's really random. I just think, if you want to do it and you feel there's a need for you to do it. And for my podcast, Yofi howls on it every single episode.
Aww.
That's my thing. So no matter what, Yofi gets to howl to the world, and that, as far as I'm concerned, is the best thing ever. So
cool.
I guess, just do it. If it burns, it's burning in your soul. Mm-hmm. Don't look for the excuses. Let this be the excuse right now. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do your show.
That's the hardest step, is just doing the one.
Yeah, and you can go back and delete the episodes if it's that awful.
Yeah,
if you're really upset, or being a little too overwhelmed.
I like to show progress, honestly. I like to show people like, okay, this was my first music video.
Yeah.
And this was my second one when I had more money.
Yeah.
And this is my third one when I got a little bit more creative. Like, that's kind of like, I like to show people progression. That way they can see, like, oh, well, that's inspiring. This came from this, and it went to this.
Yeah, I keep all my old episodes up with my former partner up. I didn't take any of those down. I'm like, that's where we were, and this is where I am now.
Yeah.
If you like those, great. You still listen to those.
Right.
This is where I am now. Who knows what I'm in a year from now? Maybe I'll have another partner.
Exactly.
Maybe, I don't know what I'll do. And it's also best to have content out there. I think content is king. Like, if you're keeping content going, it's just keep creating.
Yeah.
And see if you like it. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're burning to do it, and then you're like, this sucks. I don't want to do a podcast. I want to
But I think
like a show like this or something.
Right. Anything that you do creatively, just know that if you're in it for the money, sure, why not? But like, to keep going on something without like staff.
Yeah.
If you don't have any staff, like, you literally have to have that burning sensation to do it, because it is a lot of work, and it is about dedication, like, to be consistent and to do it, because once you slide out of it, it's really hard to get back in. So I would say, like, yeah, focus on it. Keep putting it out. Once you see the snowball coming, like, you're going to be like, all right, it's getting momentum. But, like, I feel like, don't worry about, like, making money right off of it away.
I don't make any money off of my podcast. I've been doing it for 2.5 years.
There you go.
There's no advertisers, no sponsorship. I don't have, mid-roll, skills or whatever the hell it is.
But then you have skills now. And so if somebody came to you and said, I don't need your podcast, but I need you to do this, and I'm going to pay you a bunch of money, you'd be like, well, I got the skills. I can do this. So you never know where it's going to branch off to.
You never know.
So it could just be another opportunity behind it, and you're going to feel comfortable about it because, like, I already done that. I feel comfortable doing that. I can speak in front of people. I can talk about controversial subjects.
Yeah, and again, if you're in entertainment, and even if you're an actor or something, it's just another skill set that you're creating. It's another tool in your toolbox, another thing. They always say, as a writer, if you're going in for your action film project, you better have 2, 3, 4, 5 in your hip pocket, because if they don't like that, they're going to ask, well, what else do you got?
Yeah.
And you're going to say, well, I got this rom-com, and I've got this biopic, and I've got this docu-thing, and I've got this, horrible, disgusting Korean horror film, or, you got to have more in your pocket, because they might not like what you're selling, but you might have something else where they might like it. So just saying, like, with an actor, like, if you're an actor, you're like, hey, well, I'm working on this, and I'm doing a stage show, and I'm doing voiceover work here. I got a podcast, and the cast room will be like, oh, you got a podcast. That's really cool. What's your podcast like? Where's your podcast? And they'll listen to your podcast in the 405 on a Friday, and they'll be like, oh, this guy's really funny. I like him. I should bring him in. That reminds me, this woman's really great. Or she's really, oh my God, I didn't know about that episode. I actually know that person. Yeah. So it's just creating more of a world about who you are. So if you
make Hollywood notice you. Not the other way around.
Yes.
They're like got the blinders on. They've been, having the same actors for 50 years.
If I use this analogy for when I've been in LA for almost 20 years, and I use this analogy to a lot of people. I say, when you come here and you want to be in the entertainment industry, you don't want to be on the 405 at 4 o'clock on a Friday. Because everybody's on the 405.
Like, where's it going?
You want to take the shortcuts. You want to be doing other avenues. You want to be doing routes that people don't know, that are different, that are unique to who you are. And that will get you noticed. Because then somebody's going to say, where's that person going? How'd that person get home?
They're on Sepulveda.
Yeah, or they're on another route that I didn't even know. They're behind, like, side streets of all the, restaurants in a strip mall. Like, how they get that? How do they do that?
They went in the alley.
Yeah. It used to be back in LA, you could actually have shortcuts that nobody knew about.
Then Waze came.
There was a book actually called The Shortcuts of LA.
No way.
Yeah, and it showed you all these routes. It was really, I used to have a friend. What is it that you want? I used to have a friend, and he was like this old music A&R guy. And he'd been in LA for 50 years or whatever it is. And he's like, I'm going to tell you how to get to Sepulveda. To Venice. on a Friday at 7 o'clock. You're going to get there by 7:45. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm out. And he did. He was like, take a left, take a right, take a left, take a right, take a left. And he was like, step down, step down, step down, step down, step. You do a step down, you do a step down. And I'm going through all these streets. And there's nobody on these streets. I'm like, holy fuck, there's nobody on these streets. And I got to Venice at 7:45, like in time for like, art walk or whatever. Like,
I would have had to write those instructions down, and it would have been like a whole page.
No, you wouldn't have been able, there was no way you would have been able to. Now go to Venice, and then I said, no, now you're going through the airport. You're going through the airport, doing those bumps and, the airport factory. And then I take a left, I go right away, and I go side, then we're going to hit Rose. Now we're on Rose, look, there's somebody on Rose. You're like, holy shit, how do we do that? And you're like,
Yeah.
No, don't go past Lincoln, take a right, go up, you're going to hit Lincoln in traffic.
Now Waze takes me through, like, the Santa Monica, like, airport.
Well, Waze, now all the people on those routes are stopping you from getting on those routes because they're like, now all our fucking neighborhoods are completely packed up.
Right.
What is it you want?
What?
Oh my God, so much attention. You have to go potty? Well, I'm talking to Lisa right now.
Yes.
Do you want to be on a podcast? You want to house? We're actually recording a new one starting.
Are you?
One is coming out next week.
Nice. I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah.
So tell everybody how to find you again.
The podcast is called The Brightness, the BRIGHTNESS, The Brightness. It's on any of the podcast platforms that you want. You name it. And I'm on Instagram if you want to get on Instagram. I'm not a really big Insta person.
She is.
She is. Everybody's saying I should get her an account. I'm not going to do that. It's ISSAC_Bright, BRIGHT.
Okay.
And yeah. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're so very welcome. Anything else?
Anything? I don't know. Any other comments or tidbits or tricks or... I think you covered it.
Just, I hate to say just have fun. Just do something unexpected for yourself.
Yeah, I would say that that's a good... I know it's so generic, just have fun, but there's truth in that because you can't stress yourself out. Ooh, Spirit said that.
Spirit said yes.
Because if you don't have the fun in it, it's going to show.
Yeah.
It's going to show.
Like, if I'm not laughing at the stuff I'm doing, then I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, you're not into it.
Yeah.
It's like singing a song that you're not into. No one's going to buy it. Sorry.
I mean, I might be the only one that's laughing at it. Everybody else, like Yofi, isn't laughing at it. I mean, I might lose a whole ton of followers for stuff I'm putting out there, but I don't care.
You know, when I write something, if I don't laugh, like you say, then I'm like,
Yeah.
But if I'm like laughing at my own stuff, I'm like, this is awesome. I don't care if anybody else laughs. I'm laughing.
Yeah.
I'm only doing it for myself.
So do it. Get out there and do your show.
Freaking do it.
Go do your show out there.
Who cares if it sucks?
Let it suck for 6 months, 2 years, and by 2025, you'll be number top 10 in the podcast world. And you'll start from here, and I'll be like, can I get on your show?
Can I get on your show? Yeah.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Good luck doing your thing.
And now, back to our sponsors. Oh, wait. We don't have sponsors. But you can be one. Just look down below for the links on how you can sponsor.